Ever since I saw this photo on Pinterest and recreated it for a day at my work, I thought, what other really cool Halloween makeup style Pinterest post could I recreate, and how well could I actually do it based on nothing but a simple photo? I have 3 looks that I'm going to be recreating for you guys, starting with this one.
The very first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is split my face in half, making sure that the line is as straight as I possibly can get it. Then I'm going to go ahead in with the highlights of the paint, so it's always easier to go darker versus to get lighter. So I'm making it easier on myself and doing all of the areas that are white first. Then I'm just filling the rest of the areas with blue. Then went ahead and tried to give myself an eyebrow. This is where I made the mistake of not doing it the first time around. I tried to do it on top of blue body paint, which is obviously darker, and every time you apply paint onto a darker color, it's never as light as you want it, so I actually wind up doing this like 4 or 5 times. Now, I'm not an eyebrow girl. I don't fill in my eyebrows or do anything of that sort, so it actually took me a while to really shape up the eyebrow to look like a normal eyebrow. Then with a really light pale blue with a big fluffy brush, I'm just kind of stamping it in between the white and the dark blue to kind of create an ombre and kind of a fade between the white to the blue. When I realized that didn't necessarily do the effect that I really wanted it to, I'm going in with the regular brush and just kind of patting on color in between those two colors once again, and then I'll blend them out. And this paint is pretty much finished after this. All I did was go back in with white, highlight some areas that needed to be a little bit brighter, and then I went in with a black and highlighted areas that needed to be darker. And one tip when you're using black body paint as a darkener and not necessarily wanting it to come out as black, but to just darken shades that you have, make sure to use your body paint with little to no water. You really just want it to be kind of powdery, but not completely powder. Because I used water activated paint, all I did was take a Q-tip with a little bit of water on it and just cleaned up that edge to get a really nice fine line. I loved this look so much. Leave me a comment down below if you think I replicated this look number 1, pretty well compared to the original photo. For our second paint, I started off with just an outline as to how big and where it is exactly I wanted the mouth to be. I'm then going in with the red to do the gum line, and then later on going in with white to lighten up the edges. When it came time to creating the teeth, all I did was create little half circles up in the gum line and then dragged it into a point, making sure that some curved one way and some curved another. And the teeth required 2 to 3 layers of white in order to get them that nice, bright, vibrant white. Then go ahead and fill in all the empty space with black. Going in with a light brown eyeshadow, I'm then dirtying and making my teeth more yellow. Now the true star of this paint is gonna be all of the detail work that's gonna happen right now. So first I'm gonna highlight all of the teeth, then I'm gonna create some depth by putting a little bit of shadowing on the tops of the teeth in with the gums, and then I'm gonna go in and do all of the highlights to make it look like drool and slobber all up in the gums. Using brown body paint, I'm then going to create wrinkles on the outside of the mouth. Now it's time for the fun part of creating those big pools of drool coming down from the sides. Doing this with white body paint, and then also going to connect drool lines from tooth to tooth to make it look more like it's just a slobbery mess. This paint easily topped as one of my favorite that I have ever painted. It was fun, it looks weird and creepy, and let me know if you guys think I got it close to the original. I think I did a good job. And our last but not least final paint for today. Guys, I don't know how to explain my process for this paint, and that is purely because this paint was a lot of back and forth, doing one thing, then doing another thing, then fixing another thing, and then going back, and then there was just so much. And of course, yes, I started with a white base, and then I went ahead and gave myself a black eye for the skull. But the reason why I can't sit here and say we did one thing, then another thing, then another thing, then it's done, is because of that exact reason. Because there's just so many times where I started one thing, didn't like it, or started it but it wasn't necessarily finished, but I moved on to something else because I didn't necessarily know how to move forward with one section. That's why this one in particular is kind of all over. I started doing shadings, I started doing line works, and then midway through line works I stopped. And as you can see right now, I literally started outlining the entire thing and then I just stopped. I never finished it. I went straight into shading. I then shaded too much, so I needed to go back in with white body paint and try to lighten the area. The one thing I can say, however, if you are trying to paint something that is this heavily detailed or something that is this shadowed, you can pretty much take any paint that you want to do or recreate and break it down to 3 main bases. First, break it down into colors. For this color palette, I knew that I was going to need black, white, and gray. Next is to look at shapes. It's easier to paint something in block color form than try to blend everything out and gradient everything out all at once. This is why I started with a white base and then went ahead with my black body paint and did the eye socket and the hollows of my jaw. And thirdly, shadowing. Detail means everything. When you put shadows in the right spot and you shadow certain areas with highlights and lowlights, it can really make the difference between a paint looking 3D and a paint looking flat. Now this is also where you're going to be doing all of your detail work too. So if you have fine lines or super bright highlights, this is when you're going to do that as well. And that's pretty much it. Those are the 3 rules that I pretty much follow with every single paint that I do. Whether it's recreating something or coming up with something myself, everything comes together at that detail stage. So please do not get discouraged if you are doing something and halfway through you go, oh my god, this doesn't look anything like the photo. Trust the process. Everything comes together in the detail work. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead, follow my Instagram and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year.